Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news. The topic for today's discussion, Russia-Ukraine war, impact of refugees on Europe's demography. Let us try and understand what is this topic all about. Before that, a quick gentle reminder. As part of Target Prelims 2022, we will have government schemes and programs which will be discussed tomorrow from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Please do tune in, and this session will be handled by Harshmeet Singh sir. Let's get started and try and understand what is this topic all about. European Commission recently released a report on the impact of demographic change. According to this report, it says when it comes to Europe, what they'll be facing is a long-term demographic changes. That is because of the longer lifespan, that is because of the low birth rate, aging society, smaller households, increased urbanization in Europe, and as a result of all these factors, what we will be witnessing in Europe is a declining share of the global population. So if we look into Europe currently, Europe is getting older and more people are dying than being born. Europe's median age of 43 is nearly 4 years older than North America, and the population of the European Union is expected to peak at 450 million within the next few years, and they will also see a dip 424 million by the year 2070. So what do we understand from this? That Europe is witnessing a dwindling numbers when it comes to the population. As a result, many countries are apprehensive that this could be an existential crisis for many countries, and at the same time they are also scared that if people start moving from these European countries to many other countries like United States of America, this could be a major problem. So what is happening in Europe? There is a larger demographic change. The numbers are dwindling and nations are scared where there could be an existential crisis for their own country. In this particular backdrop, what are we going to discuss? We recently saw that Russia had invaded Ukraine, and once this happened, there was a large-scale refugee crisis. So how is this refugee crisis further going to increase the demographic change in Europe and many other countries is what is this article all about. So as Russia invaded Ukraine, what happened? People started moving from Ukraine to multiple other countries as well. As part of the preliminary examination, please do remember we have Ukraine. You also have many countries in and around Ukraine. What do we have? We have Belarus, we have Poland, we have Slovakia, we have Hungary, we have Romania, we have Moldova as well. These can probably asked in your preliminary examination, where they might ask you a question, which are the countries in and around Ukraine. So these are important countries. Please do keep a note of it. However, in the present situation, when we speak about the analytical perspective, what is happening? People have started moving from Ukraine to multiple countries. They've started moving in large numbers to Poland. They've started moving to Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Moldova, so on and so forth. And if we look into the numbers, about 5.6 million people have fled Ukraine since the war began in this particular year. So what are we looking at? When we look at the numbers, the maximum number of people who have traveled from Ukraine to other country happens to be Poland. Poland happens to be a border area, and when we look into the statistics for Poland, where around 1.4 million Ukrainians lived and worked in 2020, the arrival of millions more turns the demographic clock back to before the Second World War, when the country had a large Ukrainian minority, and at the same time, Ukraine war has, however, added more than 1 million children to the Poland's population temporarily. So what are we witnessing right now? Currently, people are moving from Ukraine to Poland. As a result, some of the situation can look good, and at the same time it is also bad for Poland as well. How is that it is good for Poland? When you consider Poland, what exactly happened? It joined the European Union back in the year 2004. So this particular country, from then, it has seen high levels of migration. Why? People were looking for the greener pastures. They wanted to increase their employment opportunities as well. And they felt that they should be not restricting to Poland, but look at green pastures and travel to United States of America and many other countries. And as a result, the number of people who are there in Poland comparatively started decreasing. Now what is happening? There are large number of people who are coming to Poland. So because of this, what would happen? The number of people in Poland will increase. So will it be a temporary affair? Will it be a permanent affair? Will people stick to Poland for a larger number of years? Will people not move out of Poland? Is what we will be discussing eventually. But as of now, what we have to understand is that there is a temporary increase of people in Poland because of the refugee crisis unfolding. This looks good because there are opportunities that are provided to these refugees, and country of Poland is giving them enough opportunities as well. And at the same time, while they are providing accommodation, they are providing opportunities, they are providing employment means and programs, there is another side that is involved. As people start moving from one country to another, there will be large influx of refugees in Poland. What could happen? This could also result in cultural differences. The Ukrainian people have one culture, then you would also have the Poland people who would also have another culture as well. So when it comes to the political setup, there are far right-wing politics that is unfolding in this part of the country, and ultimately this could cause political instability in Poland. As of now, they're doing some great job. They're accommodating people, but in the near future, because of the far right-wing politics, this may also increase a political instability, clash between the Polish as well as the Ukrainian people. As of now, these Ukrainian people are present in Poland. They have been accommodated. They have been given job opportunities. They are provided the food as well. They are provided the medicines as well as accommodation. But if it continues for the larger period of time, and if these people also start working as well, they will snatch the work of some of the Poland people as well. This ultimately means that there would be a clash even for the resources. This is what is happening in Poland right now, and which might happen in the near future because of the political instability and the fight for the economic resources. This is one part. Added to it, they are also traveling to multiple other countries as well. One such country is Hungary, where they have received more than 5 lakh refugees, and at the same time they are also traveling to Moldova as well, where they have received nearly 4 lakh refugees. And apart from that, they are traveling to far off places like Germany, Italy, France, so on and so forth. So one of the countries that will face a maximum impact amongst all these countries happens to be Poland. Now the question is, yes, we did understand how this will have repercussions to Poland and in and around the countries, but how will it impact Ukraine? How will it impact Russia? When we speak about Ukraine, what is happening? There are a large number of people who are traveling from Ukraine to elsewhere. Europe in itself already was suffering from a demographic change. The numbers were already dwindling, but now since February, more than a quarter of the population has been forced to move, including 7.7 million people displaced within the country. So this might further dwindle the numbers. The numbers may further go down, and ultimately Ukraine will be the major sufferers. This is not just with respect to Ukraine. There is also issue in Russia as well. How is it going to impact Russia? In the past, Putin has been encouraging women to have babies. In 2020, he extended a one-time maternity capital payment with $7,600 to families when they have their first baby. Before this, it was available only to those who already had a child, and Putin hoped to boost the fertility rate from 1.5 to 1.7, but the tumult caused by the war will probably push it in the opposite direction. So Putin is also trying to increase the numbers when it comes to Russia. However, many people in Russia are not happy with the administration of Vladimir Putin. Because they are not happy, because they feel that they are not able to grow in Russia, they are also moving elsewhere as well. Educated Russians have left the country. They possibly believe that this could have an economic collapse in Russia because of the sanctions imposed. So they now believe that they have to move from Russia elsewhere, looking for much better opportunities. So it is not only Poland which might see issues, Ukraine on a whole will also face the issues, and at the same time Russia in the near future will also see its citizens move to some other country. Now the question is, these people have traveled to some other country. Will it be a temporary one? If it is a temporary one, what would be the consequences? If it is a permanent one, what would be the consequences? Now if you look into the previous instances, during during the Kosovo War of 1999, when NATO bombed Yugoslavia to prevent the brutalization of ethnic Albanians who make up Kosovo's majority, hundreds of thousands fled or were forcibly moved to neighboring Albania and Macedonia. So during this particular crisis, what we witnessed was it was a temporary one. Most of the people who were made to stay in multiple other countries did come back to their own country. And during the Bosnian War, which lasted between 1992 to 1995, around 7 lakh refugees fled to Western Europe and beyond. So this was a long war, and as a result, people who moved out of this particular country did not come back to the home country. So they became refugees initially in some other country, but over a period of time, they also became permanent citizens. They also started moving to multiple other countries. So there is an apprehension that if Ukraine war continues to exist for a larger period of time, if it is for a shorter period of time, people might come back to Ukraine. But if it is for a larger period of time, the economy might suffer, and because the economy would suffer, there are women and children right now who have moved to different countries. Men are staying back in Ukraine because they have to take care of their country. But if Ukraine continues to suffer, what would happen? These men who have their women and children in some other country may also move out, and Ukraine may bleed economically. So when we speak about demographic change, Europe is already witnessing a lot of demographic change, and this refugee crisis will provide opportunities to multiple countries. It will also be a problematic area to multiple other countries in the Europe. So when you look into the statistics, we have the European Union, which has assigned about 500 million euros for the humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Yet estimates from the Economic Intelligence Unit suggest that the cost of supporting 5 million refugees could be 50 billion euros in 2022 alone. So because of this particular crisis, there is economic bleeding that is happening. More money is to be pumped in. Will European Union be able to provide this money is another major question that is being asked right now. Apart from the European Union, we also have United Nations, which is also supporting Ukraine as well. It is giving cash to people for basics like food and rent. It is delivering basic supplies. It is providing food and turbulence. It is providing beds to people in the bomb shelters, and at the same time, it is setting up reception and transit units for people who are internally displaced. So how will it impact on a larger scale? We have to wait and watch if this is going to be a shorter period war or it is going to last for a longer period. If it is for a shorter period, you may have people coming back to Ukraine, but if it is for a longer period, they may not come back to Ukraine and they may look for opportunities elsewhere, and as a result, these people and the country is bound to suffer. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.